Hi, my name is Tempe Tim. I live in Tempe, Arizona. I deal in antiques, collectibles, and most anything that you can sell. I also do eBay, Amazon, auctions. Been in the business for over 20 plus years. Recently been having health issues and took a break. But now I'm getting back into it. Um, what I'm here to tell you about, we're going to talk about different ways of making money in the business. A long time ago, how I got involved was I was watching the Antique Roadshow, and I said I can do this. So about a month, I went to a local Goodwill superstore every day, spent well over $500, packed everything up in several boxes, and went to a local antique store. Woman said, "Come back in a week and I'll look at everything." I trusted her. She kept everything. She called me up, told me to come. She said to me, "Who trained you on picking?" I said, "No one." I said, "I watched the Antique Roadshow and this is what I bought." She goes, "You have the rawest eye I've ever seen." She goes, "You have some incredible picks, but at the same time, you have some of the horriblest picks, meaning chipped stuff, crazed stuff, torn stuff, stuff that wasn't even worth a penny." She's like, "I can give you the 40 years experience that I have, all the training that I have, the books, the tools." She said, "But you need to scale down and learn a handful of items, meaning 5 to 10 items. You learn them and you learn them well. Whatever you like the most is what you learn. Doesn't mean that you can't pick up something that you know you can flip and sell real fast for a few bucks, but get the knowledge of certain things and know that item when you see it." So I did. I learned pottery. I learned costume jewelry. I learned toys. I learned prints, lithographs, paintings. Um, they are my passion. But yes, I do collect antique silver to sell. I mean, I'll sell anything, but I can go into an antique store, a Goodwill, a thrift store, and look at pottery and tell you who made it and what time period before you even look at the hallmark on the bottom of it. But that's because I have years of knowledge, and that was one of my favorite things. The other thing too is, like anything in life, things go up and down. So prices aren't always stable. Every 5 or 10 years, prices on everything will drop when it comes to collectibles and antiques. The only things that kind of stay stable are kind of like real old furniture that's in good condition. But anything else, I mean, up and down. Certain things that I just will never touch ever again is collector plates. Norman Rockwell, his family destroyed the plate industry because they mass produced so many plates that you can go into any Goodwill or any thrift store and find 6 to 12 laying around that nobody wants because the market is oversaturated with his plates. It's sad. And there really is no value. I mean, back in the day in the 80s when they were going for 19.99, and 4 or 5 years later, they were up to maybe 25, $26. It was well worth it, but not anymore. So it is what it is. Um, but you always have to keep a keen eye. You have to look. You have to look in the corners, look on the floors. You'd be surprised the things that I found in the corners of Goodwills that were tucked away, or you thought, that ain't worth nothing. You just never, never, never know. Look every inch in purses. Look inside the zipper compartments. Sometimes you'll find money, you'll find old jewelry. If you're into prints and stuff, look at the backs. Sometimes back in the day, they hid other paintings inside the back of other paintings. Back in the day, old clothing. Women didn't believe in banks. They sewed money inside of their coats and their dresses. Always look for the unexpected. Now, the market today, I am 51. People my age are now looking to buy stuff from the 70s and early 80s. They want to relive their childhood. So if they're redoing their homes, they're looking for yellows, oranges, meaning the smiley faces like from Forrest Gump. They're looking for chrome, meaning chrome uh, table sets that were in the kitchens. The solo cups, the Dixie cups with the holders, um, cookie jars, all kinds of vintage. Um, you'll find a lot of McCoy pottery products from big back in the 70s. You're going to start seeing a increase in price on those types of pottery products. You'll always find good prices on old Wedgwood, not current Wedgwood. A lot of the old German potteries. Um, and there's always going to be a market for everything. I mean, you have people that collect um, salt and pepper shakers. Know your age group. Know when it says made in Japan and it has a label on it. Know it's like 1950. If you're looking at furniture, 1950 screws went from Phillips to flathead after 1950. Know your years. Know when dovetail stopped being made. Know your types of wood. No oak from pine to mahogany. Um, Never take the patina off of anything. Never, ever, because patina is part of the age. Patina is part of the story. Now we're talking about furniture and things of that nature. If you're into strictly only buying clothing and stuff like that, you want it to look good. Now, people do like vintage clothing. That has become popular again. But you also have to be careful because a lot of the vintage clothing you have to have professionally dry cleaned. You can't clean it yourself because what they're looking for is the old time dresses. Excuse me. And with the old time dresses, you want to look for the mesh purses that the woman used back in the 20s and 30s. Some of them were sterling silver, and the main company that you want to look for in these mesh purses is a company called Whiting and Davis. Different sizes, some could be colored, and they're quite heavy. They can range from a couple hundred to well over $1,000 a purse. Highly collectible. Again, manufacturer name is Whiting and Davis. Um, Old hats are making comeback. Lots of people do like vintage. Vinyl records again are always going to be, sell. Certain things always will sell. Old Nintendo games they have a resurgence. But again, now you're starting to see toys of the 80s sell. The old cell phones that first started out that weighed like 3 or 4 pounds, they're starting to sell over and over and over again. But whether you're selling at a stall somewhere, you're selling on eBay, you're selling on Amazon or wherever, you constantly have to rotate your merchandise. It has to be fresh. You can't keep on submitting the same old merchandise because if you do, you're not going to have buyers. And if you keep on setting on the same old stuff, do a fire sale. At least make the money back that you paid into it. And then get fresh merchandise in there. And if you're selling the same thing that other people are selling, especially on eBay, don't sell it. Say you're selling something and someone else has it for $39.99. Don't sell it for the same price just because they are. You sell it at the price that makes you happy and the money that you need to make out of it. You have all kinds of people that sell. You have people that sell because they love to, but they are financially stable. You have other people that do it as a second income, and you have some people that do it as a primary income. Classify yourself where you fall, and that's where you start your pricing at. Because if you outprice yourself, some things people are just not going to pay the money for. Not in with the way the economies are. Another ticketed item or items, seasonal stuff, old Christmas stuff, stuff from the 70s, highly collectible at Christmas time. All those plastic toys, the plastic Santas are highly collectibles. Cookie cutters for Christmas time, highly collectible. Um, it's again, you'll find things that are regionally collectible, meaning each state people like to collect things or buy things that were made or produced in their state. Again, it brings back memories, especially if it was pottery. One thing people should know about pottery in the United States: Ohio has been, will be, always the capital of pottery because it has to do with the clay and the sand and the dirt of the state of Ohio. It's where the best potters in the United States always came from, always will come from. So that's that. Clothing. People make a ton of money on clothing. One of the big things that you people should look for that could be a big seller every year is NFL jerseys, especially if you can find jerseys where players have left, well-known players have left the team and gone to a new team. Well, their team they left, if you can find jerseys that they left from, they will be highly collectible and people will pay premium money for them. Also, jerseys that from draft picks, high draft picks, first round draft picks. If you can come across them, highly valuable. Again, take your time, go down the aisle. You know, I'm in a state that it's warm all year long, so I don't get a lot of winter stuff. You know, go to areas that, stores that are selling through merchandise. Um, NFL stuff at the end of the season where you can get 50, 75% off and save it for the next season and resell it and make a few bucks off of it. You know, if you don't know something, ask. If you don't know something about an item you have, don't let it go before you do know, because it may be that one ticketed item that's worth a ton of money that you let go, or then could be 5 years later and all of a sudden you run across the information and then you screwed your own self by not finding out the information beforehand. I've done it, everybody's done it. um, Another thing is there's so much competition out there. Don't look at it as competition. We all need to work together as pickers, as eBayers, whatever. We need to help one another. I don't collect everything, and I'm not looking to sell everything. But if people contact me and let me know, I'm looking for such and such a thing, like female clothing or shoes. If I come across things, you know, I'll pick them up and sell them to you for what I paid cost for you, minus the shipping and handling. And that's the way it should be. Um, and we can ask each other questions on certain things. I mean, you just never know. We got to keep the business going. We don't want to see other people out there leave the business because they're not making money. or they have dead inventory. We're not always going to find the Holy Grail every time we go out, but hopefully one day we will. So it all comes down to that. And, if and when we do finally Holy Grail, then, maybe you can live off of it. There's lots of places that you can go and look. One area that I started doing many years ago that I had no clue. I had a friend of mine that was a maintenance guy at a local apartment complex when I lived in Maryland. Said, we have a flatbed dry dumpster that when people move out and leave stuff behind, we just throw in there. Why don't you start coming over and I'll give you a call when stuff gets thrown away? I'm like, sure. Some of the things that I have found in dry dumpsters, unbelievable. One time I was in a dumpster and there was like this 100-pound rubber tree plant, and all I was doing was trying to move it out of the way, and I grabbed it by the stem and it started pulling out of the pot, and the dirt started falling all over the place, and a baggie came out, and it had jewelry, 10-karat gold, and 10-karat gold jewelry goes back into like the 30s and 40s. It had costume jewelry. Then I find this box that looked like a bracelet or watch would have been in. I open it up and I see this receipt, dated 1893, an Inkwell pen, and in there is this sterling silver. I thought it was a cake knife. Never seen anything like it. Went home, got on the internet. It was what they call a fish knife, engraved, and it was a hallmark from a company in Boston, a silversmith. It was a wedding gift back in 1893 that went to a local auction and went for $375. Well, that was 100% profit because I didn't pay anything for it. But anything you find, old cell phones, anything, it's 100% profit when it's coming from a dumpster dive. The one thing about dumpster diving, though, is make sure you wear layers of clothing, make sure you wear a hairnet, and, get into the oldest, dirtiest layers of clothes. Make sure you wear layers of gloves because you don't want to get stuck. There are some dirty, funky people in apartments. You just don't know what, you get stuck by glass or a needle, and do the right thing when you get home. Take a shower and scrub yourself down or hose yourself down, whatever it is you do. But, do the right thing. Another key thing is when you find something that's old, primarily furniture and stuff, don't ever refinish it. Don't ever do anything or clean it. Part of the selling point of that kind of stuff is the patina, because that tells the history, it tells the age, and 90% of the people out there do not know how to refinish furniture. It takes years to craft to know how to refinish furniture. I started training how to do furniture 10 years ago, and I still don't know how to do it perfectly. It's something that it's just another culture and how to do it the right way. Silver, when you first come to it, you don't really want to clean silver. And there's different types of silver. I mean, there are some collectible silver plate, but a lot of people don't know this, but there's some old antique silver that also had, mostly in candle holders, that came with lead, which is illegal to sell. Ivory. Make sure if you ever come across ivory that it has to be an older ivory, because if it's anything new, meaning from 85 on, you can't sell it. It's illegal. Know your time frames for screws. Pre-1950 was Phillips head. 1950 onwards was flatheads. Know that. Know the dovetail ages. Know handcrafted versus machine tooled. Know all that stuff. Gain the knowledge. When you go to a Goodwill or thrift store, or you're selling on eBay, have the proper tools. Have your measuring tape. Have your cell phone so you can see if it's being sold someplace else. You know, don't do injustice and pick up something that you're going to be setting on or you just have to throw away. There are, like in pottery, for example, there are only a handful, and I mean a handful, less than 10 items that you can sell pottery wise that's cracked, that you can still get decent money. A crack or bad hazing, crazing, ruins the total price. Metlock is probably the number one company. It's an old German firm that you can still get good value on something that's cracked. One of the number ones that you can, but many you can't. And make sure that you're not buying reproductions. Old pottery, most old pottery was quite heavy, quite heavy. Had a lot of weight to it because it was basically clay pottery. Some new things that are starting to trend: coffee mugs are starting to trend. Another thing that you can typically find at a Goodwill all across the United States that are highly collectible is the Triple Crown glasses, meaning the Kentucky Derby, the Preakness, and the Belmont State glasses. An average glass, 20, 30, 40, 50 dollars. And the years that there's been a Triple Crown winner that won all three horse races, highly more collectible. And you typically won't find all three together, but you can find them. I mean, sporadically, because I find them like maybe one every 2 or 3 months. I'll find one or two. They are out there. So look for those kinds of glasses. There are still quite a bit of old Coca-Cola glasses out there. If you see Coca-Cola glasses in cases, like 12 to a pack, buy them. Even if they're new, buy them because they will be worth money down the road. Mint in box always helps. Also, get to know your new toys out there. There are some new toys that are coming out, some new dolls that aren't that expensive. $30, $40 range, that are made through a woman who worked for American Girl Doll Company. That she came out with 4, and they're all ethnic dolls, and they're going to be quite valuable in another probably 10 years. But it's something that you can hand down to your kids, or sell later on. But have fun at what you do. Um, when it becomes a job, take a break, walk away from it. You still need to have a balance because it can become a 24/7 job. But don't ever get discouraged. Again, like I said, the key thing is knowing what category you fall under, to where as long as you're happy with the money you're making, that's all that matters. Don't care what I make. Don't care what Bob or Ted or Jane makes. If what you're making is happy, that's all that matters. And we can all say, "Oh, I made $100 off with this. I'm selling this for 75. I'm selling this for 50." That's fine. We can say we're selling it. Are we going to get that? We don't know. So, I mean, we can say till we're in the blue in the face just because someone else is selling it. It doesn't mean it's going to sell. Because sooner or later, like anything else, things are going to stop selling because, the market is flooded with that product. There's too many of them out there. and they're too high priced. That's anything. Um, so I'm getting back into this, and there'll be a lot more videos in the future. And hopefully, by June there'll be more. I will be on Amazon. I will be on eBay. You'll find me on YouTube at Tempe Tim on YouTube. I have many videos on there. I'm just getting back into this, and any questions, feel free to ask me. If I can answer them, I'll be glad to. Um, you know, I'm constantly in and out or answering on my cell phone, so hopefully everybody will be great, and hope to talk to you all soon. And have a great day. Bye bye now.